What's up, boys and girls? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the 13th day of October 2021, and I am your guide to all the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, sports, and controversy, the man known as the OGGM, and it's Wednesday, which means it's time to take a look at what's going on in the world of tabletop role-playing game prints, tabletop role-playing game crowdfunding, and generally catching up on tabletop role-playing game news. And of course, the number one story is the passing of CEO of Hasbro, Brian Goldner. Brian Goldner passed away yesterday, I guess. So our condolences to all his friends and family and all our friends over at Hasbro. Goldner is the man behind the move to bring the Magic the Gathering crowd and the D&D crowd back together. He was very passionate about that at the both previous Hasbro Pulse thing. Sorry, it's early. He was very passionate about bridging the gap between Magic the Gathering players and D&D players. The Strixhaven, Ravenica, all the Magic the Gathering D&D books and the Magic the Gathering D&D set were all sort of based upon his idea of sort of getting those two groups back together. Now, say what you want about 5th edition, Wizards of the Coast, D&D, Magic the Gathering, we can forget all that and just focus on what Brian Goldner did that was really, really important, and that's keep Mighty Morphin Power Rangers alive in the United States. So, yeah, and making all those great Transformer figures still available to us, making all those great G.I. Joe figures still available to us. Of course, the Lightning collection and all the Power Ranger stuff. So as a huge Power Ranger fan and a huge Sentai fan and a fan of Dungeons & Dragons and Magic, thank you, Brian, for all the work you've done for Hasbro and keeping Hasbro relevant during the pandemic and bringing joy to millions of people, whether they play D&D or board games or G.I. Joe or Transformers or video games. Once again, our condolences to the friends and family of Brian Goldner, CEO of Hasbro, who passed away yesterday. All right, moving on to slightly more happy news, I guess, or at least stuff. We have the current list of everything that should be out this week on the shelves of your friendly local game store. That's Games and Anime here in Ventura. Should be out, but as we have been repeatedly reporting for the past couple months, due to the shippocalypse, is that what I think they're calling it, the shippocalypse? I don't know if that works because of what ship and shit sounds so much alike. So the shipping catastrophe is still affecting the placement of product onto the shelves of your friendly local game store. That's Games and Anime here in Ventura. Categorically, I think they're saying they're about 4 months behind. So not only are any of these dates I tell you about the upcoming product tentative at best, but remember that also affects every other aspect of our lives, including the upcoming holidays. So once again, your retailers are asking you to start doing your Christmas and Thanksgiving shopping now, because even now the White House has said that stuff will probably not be available by November/December. And if you haven't been into a supermarket in a while, let me tell you that is true. I went to a Vons yesterday, and plenty of the shelves are empty. So the shipping thing is being felt. So order your Christmas and Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa presents now. That said, here we go. From Alligator Ally Games, we have something called Tales and Tombs from the Forbidden Library. Not surprisingly, this is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition hardcover adventure for $30. It contains an adventure trilogy and information on a magical library. So here we go. Somebody trying to jump the gun and get a Strixhaven-themed magical library, magical school book out before Strixhaven actually hits the shelves. And that's not unusual. We see this all the time with all sorts of different products, including our beloved 5th edition AD&D. And we're going to see more and more of this happen as we get close into 2024 with the announcement of whatever it is Wizards of the Coast has planned for 2024. We're going to see a lot of other companies trying to do the exact same thing here. Jump ahead of the curve and get stuff out which has a similar feel to whatever it is Wizards of the Coast is doing it. You know, you see it in the movies, you see it in TV, you see it in food, you see it in books, and now we're seeing it in games. From Not Ones. Not Ones? Not, oh, it's Nat Ones. It's NATWUNS. Nat Ones. But it's one word, Net Ones. Cute. Clever. Cute. We have the Tomb of Mystical Tattoos for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. This is a $50 hardcover that has 200 illustrated magic tattoos waiting for you. There are also a couple free PDFs that are from DM's Guild and other people that are more closely associated with Wizards of the Coast detailing tattoo magic, and those are free. So before you spend $50 on Tomb of Mystical Tattoos from Nat Ones, again, clever, go over to DM's Guild and drive through and just do a search for 5th edition magic tattoos, because a lot of that stuff has already been done for free PDFs or really cheap PDFs. So even though I love these guys for their names, if you can get it cheaper, yeah. From Apothis Studio, we have the Red Opera, Last Days of the Warlock, and the Red Opera, Last Days of the Warlock Special Edition with slipcase. This is a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons hardcover adventure. $100 for the Last of the Warlock Special Edition with slipcase. $60 for the Last of the Warlock normally. This is a 10-act adventure with a couple side quests, a new Warlock subclass, some more information on patrons and races, and a new setting. All Warlocky sort of centric. So yeah, $100 or $60 for a semi-spooky heavy metal alley. Morkborgish city-based 5e Warlock adventure with a slipcase? Yeah, no. Okay, from Macmillan Publishing. I knew a Macmillan. I wonder if it's the same guy. We have the Game Master's Book of Non-Player Characters. This is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition hardcover supplement for $25, containing 50 non-player characters and 50 hand-drawn illustrations of the non-player characters, plus a bonus adventure and information on how to generate NPCs. Or for free, you could just download any one of the many free guides on NPC creation and save the $25. I hate to take money out of these guys' pockets and say things like that, but on the other hand, why buy this if I can get it for free? I know it makes me sort of shitty, but whatever. From Riot Mind Games, we have the Isle of Wraiths and Whispers from the Old Mark. These are modules for Ruin Masters. I don't know what that is. Let's find out. Ruin Masters. Oh yeah, it's an OSR classic fantasy RPG. I think I remember hearing about this before. So yeah, it's another OSR retro clone trying to do D&D type thing in a different setting. This is both modules are $16. The Isle of Wraith is a short adventure based on an island, and Whispers from the Old Mark is a short adventure based in a city. Both of these have previews up at Drive-Thru, so if you want to check them out ahead of time, head on over to Drive-Thru and take a look. From Catalyst Game Labs, we have the Johnson deck. This is a Shadowrun card deck that includes 20 cards with stat, background, plot hooks, and more for Mr. Johnson, who provides jobs for the Shadowrunners. So sounds like this is a prop that you can use to pull plot hooks out, hand them over to the player characters, and say, this is the mission that they gave you today. From Ulysses Spiel, we have some stuff for Torg. We have the Tharkhold GM pack, the Tharkhold map pack, Tharkhold Map Pack 2, and the Tharkhold GM screen. The GM screen is $25, the map packs are $15, and the adventure is $20. So this is all stuff to help you run Torg, which is a weird post-apocalypse alternate Earth role-playing game, if you're not familiar with Torg. From Gaming Ballistic. For Dungeon Fantasy, we have the Dragons of Rosgarth, Forest Ends, and Tower of the Moon. These are softcover supplements ranging from about $40 each, except for Tower of the Moon, which is $12. These are adventures and settings for the Dungeon Fantasy role-playing game. Again, if you're not familiar with the Dungeon Fantasy role-playing game, it's basically GURPS Fantasy and all the supplements for GURPS Fantasy mashed together in one new game that is Dungeon Fantasy. So it's sort of separate from GURPS, but it still is GURPS, but it's not. But it's basically just, took all the GURPS Fantasy stuff plus the GURPS rulebook, smashed it together, made a new game, made it a lot easier and more comprehensive. Bam, here's Dungeon Fantasy. And it does appear that is it for stuff that we may see on the shelves at the end of the week. I don't know. I was just at CES Games and Anime, and they had their shipment for the week, and none of those were in it. But head on down to your friendly local game store, the CES Games and Anime here in Finduri, and ask them to order these for you. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by 2024, I guess. Sure, why not? I'd love to see it happen, but somehow I don't think it's going to. If you're feeling generous with the holidays coming up and want to support me and support the continued projects of the OGGM, consider supporting me through Locals, Ko-Fi, the PayPal, or hey, I have one official new piece of merch now, so head on over to my sad little merch store over at Teespring and pick that up. It would be a great way to support me. Till next time, stay warm, stay dry. Let me be the first to wish you a happy beginning of the holidays, because I think Columbus Day was yesterday. Talk to you later. Get off my land.